Hello, and welcome to another edition of Real Blue Drive. We're on version 12.3.6 here on May 7th. And we're just coming along some semi-rural roads here. Put my foot back from the pedal, and we'll just let Hermes here take us where we need to go. So we'll come up on the stop sign. The visualization shows clearly where the first stop is and then shows where it might want to come up to creep to try to see. So we're going to try to see while it's trying to see. There's a Crystal Springs truck and now a pickup truck. But then after that, we look good. And it agreed with that assessment. So we'll come up here and head along these lanes. So today's a mostly cloudy day. We're going to try to get some shots for the opening and exit, kind of intro outro of the videos. Got my son with me in the car. Let's see how we do here at this spot. It needs to go right. And no, there's our first intervention. The car needs to turn right there. Navigation says that it would be going right there, and yet it fails to turn signal and to take the right turn. And so that's not really a surprise at that spot. It seems to be a known issue with this version. Anytime you've got a kind of like a curving road and the direction is to essentially stay straight by turning, there is some confusion in the model there, where instead of signaling to get off the road and get onto the road you're supposed to be on, like the navigation indicates, it will just keep on driving. Sometimes it'll make up its mind. So I had a previous drive through that spot where it started turning left and then ultimately decided to veer right and get onto the road it needed to be on. But that particular use case is super common. Maybe I'll run it a bunch of times here in the weeks ahead until we can get that fixed. I haven't tried manually signaling to see if that helps the full self-driving know, but obviously we shouldn't have to manually signal. It should know based off of its own instructions that, its own navigation path, that's what it needs to do there. So we'll come up here to this stop sign. Again, we're stopping at the stop sign. You can touch the accelerator a little bit. And if you're annoyed by the fact that it stops initially, but you got to be a little mindful of that and careful with it. If you, essentially, if you do the accelerator too much, then it'll take that as an instruction to pull out. But with a little bit of practice, you can get to the point where it's not a big deal, and you can kind of comfortably just nudge the accelerator a little bit as you come up to the stop sign, and it will instead stop kind of at the where it's clear to view, where it can get a clear view, rather than stopping at the stop sign fully and then moving forward and then stopping again. But yeah, this is I like this route for full self-driving because it has some hills, some curves. The roads are decently marked, but yeah, there's enough, kind of just depending on where you live. If you live downtown or, in a city area, obviously this isn't super relevant, but for a lot of folks in America, this might be really what pretty standard day-to-day driving looks like, is through suburban and even, some semi-rural areas. And, but yet not straight roads, not clearly marked, not a lot of signals. More stop signs and blind, semi-blind angles, bushes in the way, that kind of thing. So, nice natural kind of slow down before the curve there. And as others have commented, I think that's kind of the biggest difference I saw going from, V11 to V12 in this full self-driving model is that it does just feel more natural. It feels a lot closer to how maybe I would drive. It's not perfect. There's some things that still feel a little bit harder in terms of how it brakes. This was interesting to me the last time we did this. We'll see how it comes up. It knows the roads ahead, but we can't see yet. I still can't see. And so we're coming up, and what I really don't like, and I know I'm going to turn it on, but to the right there, at that shot, so autopilot did not give enough time to actually see to the right of that intersection. That's a blind left turn. So I'm just going to send that feedback in, because it would be very bad for both the driver, for full self-driving in general, if the car were to try to make that turn. The point of being supervised full self-driving at this point is to supervise, and this is a road that vehicles travel pretty quick on, and to the left was fine. To the right turned out was fine, but there's no way that the car had enough time or the right angle to see that to the right was fine. And it really, for all the stopping and creeping and hesitating that it does, it's really surprising to me how I've on multiple drives now, it really on somewhat blind faith takes that left turn, and it honestly is, like I said, it's worth to me disengaging solely just to give the feedback. Love the marking on that bar there. So we're just taking a quick errand up to, we're going to head up kind of the top, so there's a little bit of view over the river, and there's a nearby park here. And so after we run our quick errand, we might swing into the park and potentially get some other shots, maybe some drone shots of the car if the rain holds out here. It's got a little bit of blue coming through, but still, again, mostly overcast day. I think for folks who really have never experienced full self-driving, it really is, fairly mind-blowing the first time that you get it. And for people who've kind of lived with it for a while, so we've had a 2022 Model Y, and this is the 23 Model Y that we're in the 22 right now. We have a 23 at home. Both those vehicles we've experienced full self-driving over time in, and watching it improve has been really great. But even from the beginning, just the experience of a car that's taking the turns for you, if you have the right expectations about what you can expect the car to do and not expect the car to do, ultimately the experience is fairly positive, I would say, overall. If you aren't, you can see there it actually crossed the shoulder line a little bit, which is great. That's what you want it to do. In previous versions, it wouldn't do that. But, once we got to 12.3 forward on, it does that shoulder cross real nice. Nice kind of natural slowdown at the peak of the hill. Nothing told it to do that. It's just what people would naturally do because you can't quite see over the crest of the hill, and so you don't want to assume what lies ahead. So we'll come up here, and like I said, we're just dropping off something at a school, and so this might be close to the end of our drive, because once we get into the drive or the school area, if it is around let out time, there's some rules about how to navigate the parking lot that self-driving is certainly not going to know anything about. So I just don't want to run it too far, but we'll see how far it goes before we cut. I'd say we're going to actually cut right there. All right. And we're back. We've run our little errand here, and we're going to see what the self-driving decides to do. coming out of essentially a school parking lot. It is around the time of let off, but not too many cars to really be negotiating with here, so the vehicle can make up its mind correctly, we should be pretty all right. So we need to do a left here on Coal Creek. Apologies if the audio goes up when I turn my head right to look. I'm just supervising and keeping an eye on things. We're good to the right. We aren't good to the left. The model indicates that, and you'll see on the visualization, it kind of draws the blue line ahead when it thinks it's ready. Now, I've been ready for a while, and I can press the accelerator to tell it that I'm ready. But in this case, for these kind of videos, I'm gonna tend towards letting it just do what it's gonna do, and then disengaging closer to the edge than maybe I would if I was just driving FSD for my own convenience, which I do on most of my drives anyway. I find that it's reached a point where it is a stress reliever, not a stress adder, to have it turned on. Coming up here, yep, I'm fine with that turn. It wasn't too rushed or anything. And yeah, we're gonna come up to turn into this park. Just do a loop probably around the park. Maybe come around and do a second loop, but we're gonna try to get some shots of the vehicle from outside the vehicle as well. But this is definitely a nice area, kind of up on the hill. There's a river off to our east. And so, but let's see, as we come up to the top of this hill and make this turn, there's a bit of a curve ahead. Definitely don't want to assume the way is clear until you can really get a clean shot. And you want to kind of make it fast. So there was a car coming, but we had plenty of time. A little bumpy coming in. And now we're at the park, which we said was our destination. So we're essentially here already. And yeah, so we'll probably come up and park. I'm not sure if the vehicle is going to want to try to go around, but I think I'm going to end it here.